Right now, there are roughly 10 million small businesses in the United States owned by people over the age of 55. A huge number of them, businesses pulling in $500,000 a year or more, will need to change hands in the next decade. And here's the strange part. Many of them will struggle to find buyers, even though some quietly generate six figures in profit every single year. Not because they're failing, not because the numbers don't work, but because nobody thinks they're exciting enough to own. Today, we're looking at three of those businesses: a laundromat, a pest control company, a pool cleaning service, each one hovering around $500,000 in revenue and quietly producing six-figure cash flow. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why smart buyers are starting to pay very close attention to businesses like these, what most people get wrong when they try to buy one, and the one hidden risk that kills more of these deals than anything else. Here's what's happening right now. Thousands of small business owners are ready to retire. They've spent 15 or 20 years building steady, profitable companies, but they have no one to hand them off to. Their kids don't want the business. There's no partner to take over, so they need to sell. On the other side, a new wave of buyers is showing up. People who'd rather acquire a business with existing customers and real cash flow than start from scratch and hope it works. And the businesses caught in the middle of this trend, they're not tech startups, they're not trendy restaurants, they're the unglamorous ones. Laundry, bugs, dirty pools. In the acquisition world, people call these boring businesses. And that name is a compliment. Boring means predictable. Predictable means cash flow. Cash flow is what actually pays the bills. But here's the part most people miss. Boring doesn't mean easy. And that's where things get really interesting. Business number one, the laundromat. Laundromats look like simple businesses. Machines, coins, customers coming back every week. From the outside, it almost seems too straightforward to be a real investment. But there's a hidden cost that has caught more first-time buyers off guard than almost anything else in this industry. We'll get to that in a moment. First, let's look at why laundromats attract buyers in the first place. Picture a 4,000 square foot space in a suburban strip mall, 40 commercial machines humming all day, customers walking in, dropping $6 to $8 per load, and returning every single week because they have to. People always need clean clothes. A laundromat doing around $500,000 in annual revenue typically earns from two streams: self-service machines and wash and fold services, where staff handle the laundry for a premium, usually $1.50 to $2 per pound. The wash and fold side is where margins get more attractive. Once the machines are in place and the lease is signed, day-to-day overhead is relatively contained. Rent, utilities, water and gas are the big ones, an attendant or two, and machine maintenance. According to data from the Coin Laundry Association, a well-run laundromat can produce net profit margins between 20 and 35% on $500,000 in revenue. That works out to roughly $100,000 to $175,000 flowing to the owner every year. Now here's the trap: the equipment. Commercial washers and dryers are expensive, and they wear out. Replacing a full set of machines in a mid-sized laundromat can run $150,000 to $300,000. If the seller is offloading the business right before the equipment needs replacing, a buyer who doesn't catch that is essentially paying full price for a business that's about to demand a massive reinvestment. One buyer in Atlanta learned this the hard way. Purchased a laundromat for $280,000, only to discover that 2/3 of the machines needed replacing within 18 months. That turned a solid deal into a break-even grind for nearly 3 years. This is why smart buyers always bring in an independent technician to inspect every machine before signing. The machines aren't just equipment. In this business, they are the business. Business number two, the pest control company. Now let's talk about pest control. And if you only pay attention to one business on this list, it should probably be this one. Not because it's the most profitable on paper, but because of something about the business model that private equity firms noticed years ago and most individual buyers still overlook. A pest control company doing $500,000 in revenue is usually a small local operation. One owner, 3 to 5 technicians, a few trucks, a mix of residential and commercial accounts. Nothing flashy. But here's what makes it powerful. Most pest control customers don't call once and disappear. They sign up for quarterly or monthly service plans. They pay every cycle, usually by auto charge, and they rarely cancel. That recurring revenue structure is the reason private equity firms have been aggressively acquiring pest control companies for the last several years. It's not the bugs, it's the subscription model underneath. According to IBIS World, the US pest control industry generates over $23 billion annually. Gross margins for service providers typically run between 50 and 60%. After labor, vehicles, chemicals, insurance, and marketing, net margins for a well-managed operation often land between 15 and 25%. On $500,000 in revenue, that's approximately $75,000 to $125,000 in annual profit. But the real opportunity isn't just in running the business as is. One buyer in Texas purchased a pest control company with roughly 700 recurring residential accounts. The seller was 62, had operated the business for 18 years, and was ready to retire. The deal closed at around 3.2 times seller's discretionary earnings. Within 2 years, the new owner added commercial contracts and grew revenue by 30%. Without dramatically changing the operation. He simply picked up accounts the previous owner had been turning down for years because he didn't want to grow anymore. That's a pattern you see again and again. A retiring owner coasts through the final years, and a motivated buyer unlocks growth that was always sitting right there, waiting. But not every deal plays out this way. And the reason comes down to something most buyers don't check carefully enough. We'll get to that shortly. Business number 3, the pool cleaning service. The third business is pool cleaning. And the biggest mistake most new pool service owners make is thinking the cleaning is the business. It's not. We'll come back to that. First, the basics. A pool cleaning company at the $500,000 revenue level is typically servicing between 200 and 400 residential pools on a weekly basis. In Sunbelt states, Florida, Arizona, Texas, California, this is essentially year-round work. Each route technician can handle 15 to 20 pools per day. Labor is the biggest cost, followed by chemicals, vehicle expenses, and insurance. Net margins generally fall between 15 and 25%, putting roughly $75,000 to $125,000 per year in the owner's pocket. According to the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance, there are over 10.7 million residential pools in the U.S., and that number keeps growing. The customer base is extremely sticky. Homeowners with pools need weekly maintenance whether the economy is booming or struggling. Once someone signs up, they tend to stay for years. Now here's the part that changes the math. The real value in a pool business isn't the cleaning fees, it's the upsells. Equipment repairs, filter replacements, resurfacing referrals, chemical delivery programs. A pool route with 300 accounts isn't just 300 service charges, it's 300 relationships with homeowners who trust you to maintain one of the most expensive features of their property. Smart operators build significant additional revenue on top of the base cleaning service, sometimes increasing per customer value by 30 to 50%. One pool operator in Phoenix started with a single acquired route of 60 pools. Within 5 years, he grew to 420 accounts and over $900,000 in revenue, not by marketing or cold calling, but by acquiring smaller routes from other operators who were retiring or leaving the business. He stacked routes the way real estate investors stack rental properties, quietly, methodically, and very profitably. Key insights. Now that we've walked through all 3 businesses, let's pull out the patterns that actually matter for anyone thinking about an acquisition. And the 4th one on this list is probably the most important thing in this entire video. Insight 1. Recurring revenue changes everything. 2 of these 3 businesses run on recurring service contracts. The laundromat doesn't have formal agreements, but it has something equally powerful: habitual repeat customers who show up every week out of pure necessity. In all 3 cases, the owner is not starting from zero each month. That single characteristic separates these businesses from the vast majority of small companies on the market. Insight 2. These businesses are valued on cash flow, not hype. Small service businesses are typically priced as a multiple of seller's discretionary earnings, or SDE, the total financial benefit the owner receives, including salary, profit, and personal expenses run through the company. For businesses in this range, multiples usually fall between 2 times and 4 times SDE. So a pest control company putting $150,000 per year in the owner's pocket might sell for $450,000 to $600,000. A laundromat with aging equipment and no manager in place might go for as low as 2 times. If you don't understand how these multiples work, you can't evaluate whether any asking price makes sense. Insight 3. The transition period is not optional. Smart buyers negotiate a handover window, typically 60 to 90 days, where the seller stays on to introduce the new owner to customers, train them on daily operations, and transfer supplier relationships. Skipping this or rushing it leads to customer churn, employee confusion, and operational problems that quietly destroy the value you just paid for. Insight 4. Owner dependency is the hidden deal killer. This is the risk that sinks more acquisitions than anything else, and it's the one most first-time buyers underestimate. In many small businesses, the owner is the business. They know every customer by name. They handle the biggest accounts personally. They show up at midnight when something breaks. If you buy that business and the owner walks away, you might watch 20 to 30% of the customer base vanish within 6 months. Not because the service got worse, but because the relationship left. Experienced buyers always ask one question before anything else. Could this business run for 90 days without the current owner in the building? If the answer is no, the price needs to reflect that risk. And if the seller won't acknowledge it, that tells you something too. Let's talk about what makes these deals harder than they look, because there's a real gap between reading about acquisitions and actually closing one. Financing. A business with a $400,000 asking price usually means an SBA loan, which requires 10 to 20% down. So $40,000 to $80,000 out of pocket. The SBA process takes 60 to 90 days and involves extensive documentation, tax returns, financials, a formal business plan, and a personal financial statement. Sellers sometimes get impatient and move on to another buyer. In this market, speed matters. Due diligence. Small businesses don't always keep clean books. A laundromat owner might underreport coin-operated revenue. A pest control operator might blur the line between active and dormant accounts. According to BizBuySell's annual insight report, roughly half of all small business sale transactions fall apart during due diligence. That's how common financial discrepancies are. Buyers need to verify everything independently: bank statements, tax returns, customer lists, rather than trusting the seller's packet at face value. Operations. Buying a pool company means you are now personally responsible for making sure 300 pools get cleaned every single week. Whether a technician calls in sick, a truck breaks down, or a hurricane sits over your service area for 3 days. These aren't glamorous problems, but they're constant, and they require either hands-on management or the ability to hire reliable people and build real systems around them. These three businesses exist within a much larger shift. The baby boomer generation built an enormous number of small companies over the last 30 to 40 years. As that generation moves toward retirement, an unprecedented volume of businesses is entering the market. Some estimates suggest over $10 trillion in business assets will change hands in the coming decade. At the same time, acquisition entrepreneurship is growing fast. Younger professionals are discovering that buying an existing business, one with customers, revenue, and systems already in place, can be a faster and lower risk path to ownership than building something from zero. Online communities, educational programs like those from organizations such as the Small Business Administration and Search Funder, and a growing body of publicly available deal data have made this path more accessible than it's ever been. Capital is flowing toward boring, cash flow positive businesses for a straightforward reason. A laundromat isn't going to 10x in value overnight, but it also isn't going to zero. A pest control company won't make headlines, but it might quietly put $120,000 in the owner's pocket every year with manageable risk. In a time when people are increasingly skeptical of speculative investments, that kind of stability is becoming more attractive, not less. Here's what it comes down to. The businesses that generate the most excitement, big brands, viral products, impressive stories, are not always the businesses that generate the most reliable income. Some of the most financially sound small businesses in this country solve simple, recurring problems. Dirty clothes, pests in the kitchen, a green pool in the backyard. Nobody brags about owning a pest control company at a dinner party, but the owner depositing $10,000 plus in monthly profit from a business that runs on repeatable systems doesn't need anyone to be impressed. The skill isn't finding the most exciting business. It's learning to see value where everyone else sees boredom. That starts with understanding the numbers, asking the hard questions, and resisting the urge to chase what looks impressive instead of what actually works. If this helped you think differently about business ownership and acquisitions, hit that subscribe button. We break down the real numbers behind boring businesses every single week. No hype, no fluff, just the kind of analysis that helps you spot opportunities other people walk right past. Drop a comment below and tell us, which of these three businesses would you actually consider buying? Laundromat, pest control, or pool service? We read every single one, and your answer might shape a future video.